Whew. Hey there. We all know the environmental and ethical reasons for following a plant-based diet, but what happens inside our bodies as we swap out animal proteins for more plant-based ones? I'm Adam KRUGER, and you may know me as the PlantX Vegalier, but I'm also a lifelong athlete. Join me as I speak with different members of the medical advisory board here at PlantX to figure out exactly what goes on inside your body as you follow a more plant-based diet. Welcome to Medically Speaking. On today's episode, we have registered dietitian and certified nutrition support clinician, Amy Gensel. She's here to talk to us today all about tofu and why it's actually a great source of protein to feed your muscles for fitness and more.
Hi, my name is Amy Gensel. I'm a registered dietitian. I'm actually a certified nutrition support clinician. I do a lot of calculations. It's a lot of math, calculating protein needs, carbohydrate needs, fat needs, vitamin needs.
Amy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hello.
So we are talking today about tofu and this huge shroud of misconception, yeah, I'm gonna say that, around tofu and phytoestrogens. Can we discuss why it is a myth that tofu will make you grow man-boobs if you're a dude or set off a hormonal imbalance if you're a female?
It started because of the word phytoestrogen, but phyto, a lot of our, especially medical terms, come from a Latin root. It just means plants. So the receptors in our body that recept to the estrogen do not recept to phytoestrogens. We absorb them differently. So yes, there was a study a long time ago where they looked at mice and gave them a bunch of soy-based products in which they developed boobs. However, our bodies don't digest them the same way as mice do. So this is a case where animal studies don't necessarily translate to human studies. A lot of times they can, but this is one where it really didn't. And unfortunately, it started this huge, long-standing myth now that if you take them, you will get all of these other complications. And there's just really no evidence that shows that.
Yeah, and I, as someone who has consumed massive amounts of tofu over the last several years, and actually I love tofu and I will eat it sometimes multiple times in a day, and I've fried it, I've pan-fried it, I've baked it, I've done things to tofu that you would never think that you could do to tofu. Not in a weird way, like just in a really like delicious way. I've coated it in so many different marinades, and then you can baking it. Sorry, I'm off tangent here. This is the cooking episode. But for someone who's had so much of it, I've had no hormonal issues whatsoever. My gains at the gym have never changed. Not changed. They've always gone up. I'm continually getting better at what I'm doing. So I can definitely attest to that. Now, I know that there's a lot of benefits actually to consuming tofu. I believe you mentioned in a previous episode that it actually does contain all 9 essential amino acids. So can we talk about that real quick?
Absolutely, yeah, it actually does. It contains all 9 essential amino acids. So it is a complete protein. So it is a great source of protein. Especially if you're working on having a plant-based diet and still meeting your protein needs, this is an excellent way to do it. As you said, there are so many different ways you can prepare it. I have some people who actually not cook it yet and just blend it up in a smoothie and drink it that way because it adds a nice creaminess to it. So there are a lot of different things you can do with tofu. And as you said, it does have other benefits. People in studies have had lower cholesterol after switching to a soy and plant-based diet that includes soy. So it does have benefits for your cholesterol, which is a great benefit, especially in our country.
Yeah. And then I also read about heart health and also the ability to help eliminate free radicals in the body. Can we talk about that a little bit?
That I would have to do some more research on to see what exact free radicals they were doing. But what I would estimate that the rationale for that is you're not getting a lot of other chemicals from the meat and also less inflammation.
Yeah, I mean, what I read was actually it had to do with the isoflavones. Sure,
isoflavonoids, absolutely. Yes, they actually can help to reduce free radicals. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's high in that, right? Tofu and soy products are high in those compounds.
They are, yes, absolutely.
So basically, the whole idea about soy being vilified by people is simply maybe a hit job from the meat industry? I have no idea. Why do you think it's been vilified so much?
I'm not sure. A lot of times people are scared of something they've never tried before. If it's your first time trying tofu and you see this thing and it's kind of moist and wet and you don't really know what to do with it, it might taste funny to you, and then you're like, oh, I'm out. But if you learn how to prepare it, you definitely want to dry it first. That helps a lot to get the flavor. And like you were saying, different marinades. I think people just tend to be a little nervous to try something new. But tofu's been around for so many years, and there are so many different ways to prepare it. You can really incorporate it in a wide variety throughout your day.
Yeah, see, I love that, and I'm a huge proponent of tofu. I love it. I think that, after embracing soy, it's actually sort of helped my diet. I feel like it's a lot easier on the tummy to digest, at least for me personally.
Sure.
As far as, if you're looking at different processed, vegan meat alternatives, looking at tofu, it's not so much a vegan meat alternative as it is its own thing, right? So you have, they do plant-based, sausages and burgers and nuggets and all that, and there's a laundry list of ingredients that you probably can't even pronounce, which, who's to say what's better for you or not? But when I look at tofu, it's literally like soybeans and one other affirming agent, and that's it. So I feel like it's the least processed option to, maximize protein intake. And again, we've already gone over this. We don't need nearly as much protein as we're led to believe. So, even having tofu once or twice a day, that's not detrimental in any way, is it?
Correct. No, you could have some, if you like soy milk, you could have some soy milk for breakfast. That'll give you some protein there with whatever your other items you're having with your breakfast. And then, yes, you could still have some tofu for dinner.
Perfect. So now there was obviously, the mouse or mice study where they, ingested, soy products and ended up growing, mammary glands, I suppose, or breast tissue, or I don't know. I don't know the correct terminology, but I'm assuming that it's somewhere in that ballpark. But there's still this persistent thing amongst, a lot of different men who don't know. They're worried about growing, extra appendages, I suppose. But they're worried about this issue with tofu, and have there ever been instances of this happening? I mean, is it completely impossible, or?
There actually are two case studies that I was able to find in hundreds of studies that I was looking through. Two, and case reports. So when you're looking at things for evidence-based and research-based, case reports are really the bottom rung. They're just one offshoot, right? It just happened to one random person. So the first one I found was a teenage boy who was let me get the exact amount. Yes, he was consuming the equivalent of 10 cups of edamame a day, every single day. So he had no variety there, and just an excessive amount. Like, I don't know about you, but I love edamame, and I don't think I could eat 10 cups in one sitting ever. And then the other patient, or person, I should say, that was the case study, was a 60-year-old gentleman who developed some gynecomastia, as we were saying, that extra breast tissue. And he was drinking 12 cups or 3 quarts of soy milk every single day without a break. So again, it was just an excessive amount that most of us are not consuming. And then he cut it back and his breast tissue went away. So if you were one of the random people like this gentleman, when he just cut back to a normal physical amount of soy milk, it was fine.
Right. So basically and again, you said these are case studies. So it's like bottom rung. Okay. It's not like been repeated. It's just, these are like isolated cases. And I wonder, because my brain goes, well, how much of that is attributed to them eating too many calories to begin with? Like, is that something that could have been an issue as well?
Sure. There's so many other components that it could have been attributed to, because like you said, it was just a case report. It wasn't an actual study where they weren't evaluating the patient's hormones. That you weren't evaluating how much they were eating. Like I said, were their hormones off balance? Were they just consuming an excessive amount of calories total that just caused them to gain some weight? It's really difficult to say. So because it's such an offshoot, we don't consider it even a possibility.
Right. And then also we mentioned that the phytoestrogen doesn't even interact with our hormonal system anyway. So how could that be? Like, to me, in my head, I'm just going, well, it's too many calories. Like, I know when I've overeaten calories, I start to gain a little weight, and breast tissue is what? It's primarily fat, isn't it?
It's fat, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you gain a little extra weight, you might get a little bit more top heavy, no matter who you are.
Correct.
So, well, this is good to know. So for those of you out there who are wondering if soy or tofu is a suitable alternative for your protein source, the answer is 100% yes. But like everything in life, you know, moderation is key. Too much of anything is not going to be good for you. Even too much water can actually kill you. And we are 80% water. There is, I forget what the condition is called, but if you drink way too much water, you can actually die from water poisoning. Okay, that's a thing. You have to drink an obscene amount of it in a very short window of time, but it is a thing that's happened. So just so you all realize, moderation is key. Eat more plants. Eat the rainbow, you will find increased health, and soy is a great way to add extra protein to your diet. A wonderful and insightful conversation. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It was so much fun.
Well, I hope you learned something new here today, because I sure did. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below, and we'll address them in a future episode. Until then, stay fit, stay healthy, and eat more plants. See you next time.